Hey Weirdo, welcome back. Today we're talking to Kanika Vasudeva, and her story is one of the most fascinating transformations you'll hear. She was an she was a successful engineer and MBA professional leading a multi she was a successful engineer and MBA professional leading a multi-million dollar projects at Fortune 500 companies. The kind of success most people dream about. But on the outside, uh, she, um, but on the outside, she had it all, and on the inside, she was completely burnt out and empty. Then something happened that changed everything. She gave birth to a stillborn daughter, and instead of grieving the loss, she used it as a doorway to shape our reality. Today, Kanika is an energy expansion coach.
Akashic Records reader.
Today, Kanika is an energy expansion coach and a records reader, and she helps entrepreneurs, coaches, and professionals clear their hidden blocks that help them play small. She combines strategic analytical thinking from her corporate days with deep spiritual wisdom to help people build businesses and lives that actually feel good. In this conversation, we're diving into her incredible transformation, what an Akashic records are, how her past trauma life shows up in how past trauma present life, and most importantly, practical tools you can use every day to shift your energy and expand your impact. Kanika, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Cody, for having me here. I'm delighted.
So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, like your journey? Just give a little bit more for the audience.
Yeah, I think you said it well. Yes, I have an MBA background. I'm an engineer. Life looked really perfect on the outside at one stage. And then I lost my daughter, and I managed to move through it and actually take it as fuel going forward. But when I say that's intense, I don't think it's 100% true at all. Because at that time, I did grieve. I honestly contemplated even to end my life because there was nothing left there in terms of meaning. But I had a son. He was 2 years old. And it did not make sense. At the one hand, I was sort of fighting, engaging with the universe and going like, why did this happen? How can I lose a child? And why could you do this? And then I had another child who was 2 years old. They're the ones who are, one of the comedians said they're like the fast and furious kinds. Like they're the ones who are running around and, they're putting their fingers in sockets and they're just dangerous little people. You have to look after them, make sure that they stay alive and they keep everything okay around them. So, on one hand, he really kept me on my tippy toes, but he also had that zeal for life. He was so excited about crinkled paper, about just everything. And it's such a contrasting experience if you bring me at the point. I was at the lowest point. I did not want to live. And he's the perfect pairing. So, in that juxtaposition, I was just evaluating all the time how come he has so much love for life? And how come I have totally lost it? And as I grieved through, as I started trying to find my way through it, I found my way into energy healing. I took some courses, also got in touch with my daughter, which was really important for me to have that closure and understand what was really happening. And then he was there. And so I was like, okay, if I have to live on, if I can't really check out of life, I should tune back into my life and just be happy. Know that integral part that we are all born with. And I also spoke with my daughter at the time, uh, and I was saying sorry to her. I'm so sorry that I lost you because I was feeling so guilty that I'd lost her. And she said, never the plan. It was never the plan for her to be born. She had literally come to wake me up. So my life there and then this new life, at first it was just this place where I was really trying to understand what was going on. But then the more I allowed myself just let go of my own ego and perceptions, because before this it was very much the person who wanted to be like, okay, this is what everybody wants, these are the achievements everybody wants, and I'll get those and I'll get happy. And after that it was like, okay, what do you have in store? Because clearly, the way I lived my life, that wasn't working out. I was at the lowest point in my life that I was ready to take in and I was ready to change. And I think that caused the whole transformation. So today, I blend all of that. I blend that strategy and I blend the energy work that I do and I bring it all together to help my clients have really positive, profitable businesses and create that impact in the world.
It's a very impactful journey, and I'm sorry you had to go through that, but it does echo sentiment on my side. I had a similar story of wanting to end my life and then being saved and realizing that beauty, that's what this is all about. That the weird Canadian is my evolving of myself and becoming what I really wanted to be instead of what I was told to for the majority of my career. So I didn't have the same similar struggle as you, but I understand where you're coming from.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think that's so wonderful because till we go through that, sometimes we just take life for granted. And although this felt horrible to taste, I really feel it was such a blessing because my life before this, I was truly wasting. And afterwards, it just totally shifted day and night. That
Yeah.
is the difference.
I wake up every day wanting to do things. That's the difference. So, can you tell me what Akashic Records are? To give you a bit of context on this, just to back it up, the only thing I know of this is from an anime called Code Geass, where they talked about this. So, bear with me in this.
No, and that's absolutely okay. I'm an engineer by background. And, if life hadn't turned out like this, I probably would still be very skeptical about all of this. But as the journey happened, because I lost my daughter, she was a stillborn, I never got to really touch her, feel her alive, and I really wanted to get in touch with her. So I was exploring all these modalities. And first, I started dabbling with energy healing. And then, as I honed that, then I got into the Akashic Records. Akashic Records are like a mystical library and they hold everything. Let me explain that. Think of an apple, any apple, and try dividing that into 1,000 pieces, like chop, chop, chop. And then you've got 1,000 pieces, take one little slice out. And that slice is one lifetime. It's paper thin, right? So if I talk about Kanika, that paper thin slice is just that. Whole apple is my soul. So it is that thing where if we sleep, we get some ideas, or randomly we are in the shower, we are driving, we get some ideas. That's a subconscious brain that's just connected to stuff. And actually, subconscious brain, even scientists would say that that is 95% of our brain.
Mm.
So is that massive, and that is how much it controls our life, that whole apple. And yet, logically, we all think of just that little slice and we think this is all that we are, and we don't really fully tap in. But here's the great part when I work with the records, and if I give another example here, imagine you're in a traffic jam and you've got cars around you, you cannot move. So you're just trying to see what's really happening, but all you can see is a red car next to you and, maybe a little bit more than that, but you just know you're stuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
In life, it'll play out that, okay, your partner did something, maybe the toilet seat was up again and you're frustrated with that, and that's all you understand. Maybe if you can somehow walk out of the car, as in like walk back in your life, you'll understand, okay, well, the red car is here, and then there's like 4 or 5 more cars or 10 more cars there, and you can sort of estimate that. And in our life, we go like, well, right now my partner is annoying me because of this, but then I had similar patterns maybe with other relationships or with other friends and growing up. And that's a little bit of the work that we can do, just stepping out and trying to understand what it is. The Akashic Records is your ability to be able to fly and then see the whole thing. So then you see what is really being going on with the whole traffic jam, like across all the other highways and the lanes, and how much is impacted. You also get to know what is the quickest way to get out. In real life, what that will mean is that, okay, you're getting irked with a relationship in some sense, and you understand that, but that was planted, that imprint, that software imprint happened some point in time in a past life or because of your DNA through your family chain. And it understands, okay, where is this coming from? And so that glitch can be when you tap into the Akashic Records. So it's like you get a complete different upgrade and that whole thing gets taken off. If I give examples, real stories here from clients, I had a mom come to me because her son very high on anxiety and he would just get very angry with his friends. So she was getting repeated warnings from the school as well. I looked at his Akashic records, found things in the past life where he was actually a prisoner of war at one time, and then he was in the gladiator arena, and he had to always defend himself, and he always had this inherent distrust because of that in humanity and humans, and he was carrying that till date. Worked on that energy, helped him just feel calmer, safer, restore him back to the fact that humans, at least in this lifetime, he's not going to be attacked like that. And it's just shifted. Like overnight, she's like, well, he sleeps better. He's a lot more grounded. He's a lot more calmer. And it's just so much easier to talk to him. So they're just very radical shifts that can happen because the wounded seed or the glitch, the buggy program inside our software has been removed.
Is it removal or is it just being showcased? That's kind of the understanding that I went under what I'm trying to understand. So like when you go through these processes, is it just the fact that they're recognizing that they acknowledge it and then it happens to just fix itself? Because I feel like that's how I've solved a lot of my own pain.
Yes, and that is amazing as well. Well, a lot of people just do Akashic Record readings, but I do Akashic Record reading and healing. Typically, in a reading session with me, maybe about 15 minutes is the reading, and most of that is just healing. And I might be just healing and reading along at the same time, and a lot of the things will come up. But I think the beauty is in the healing because you want to move through it. The recognition as well, it shifts, but the shift could be marginal. For example, just knowing, well, this is your block, and if there's just something mindset related to it, sometimes it's possible to do it. But especially if it's deeper, it can be harder to do it personally. And then there can be various levels to it. There can be our own inner part that interferes. For example, when I worked with this child, I worked with his energy in that past life, made him feel safe in that past life, restored his faith because he was very much feeling like, well, life's just not good at all. He was not able to have faith in the universe because he felt it was all really atrocious for him. And it was very barbaric. But it had happened because as a soul, this is what he'd wanted to experience. But in his body, he'd forgotten that. So it was just bringing that to his awareness and telling him and letting him feel comfortable there that even after doing that, his current body had to still feel comfortable with the whole thing because it needed to trust again and not feel like it had to fight with every person around him just to be safe. He literally felt that they were attacking him the whole time. So there was more work that had to be done there.
I feel like that's kind of, we need that on a mass scale level right now. Everybody's just fighting everybody in the streets right now. Not in the streets, but on the internet at least.
Yeah.
So, can you explain so how is this different from like a consciousness theory type of thing? If you know what I mean.
Explain that, elaborate that a little bit.
Consciousness theory is that we don't understand our consciousness, but we still see that we understand that some of us is backed up to some sort of cloud, but that it's like we're all one entity, like one consciousness trying to figure out itself. How is that different from the Akashic records?
The Akashic Records is simply the library to keep all of this information. It's just like the information storage. You know how sometimes if you see your phone or Google, and I happened to look at it the other day and it was showing me how much time I'd spent driving, what were my usual driving spots. And I was so amazed with that level of insight. That's sort of what the records does. It keeps insights and whatever we've learned. It literally keeps all that library. And however deep you want to go into something, it keeps all that information about me, about you, about all our connections, our relationships, everything that we wanted. All of that can be found there. Now, where you're talking around consciousness, and I think you're referring to us coming from source and all initially being part of one source. And I actually haven't looked at that personally myself, because my of interest hugely is just humanity itself. And I feel like the more I can impact here, that's my, I just love that transformation piece. But I mean, I could talk about it, but I wouldn't really talk about it from having seen something on my end.
Very fair.
So I'm
But
just repeating someone else.
even as you talked it out, it's as if the Akashic Records are the database that we
Yes.
reference to give our
Yes.
true selves and conscious, individual conscious. Like as I see it, it would be like source tunneling and then your hub.
Yes, I would say that the Akashic records, at least the level at where I am looking at them, they're more containing the information for Earth. And I mean, through that, I can still look at if people have come from other galaxies and what their other lifetimes. I can tap into that. But I actually haven't needed to or desired to go beyond that and check it out beyond that. Like, see and explore the whole oneness maybe another day. Right now, for me, what's most interesting is how do I help either the person around? Like, how do I create the most transformation right now?
Hmm. So let's move into that. What are some little things people can do in their average life to just help get in touch?
That's a good question. And I'll say this. That start by choosing yourself. Start by doing what you truly want to do. And it sounds really, really simple. It sounds such a deceiving statement that just do you. But the more you
Hmm.
do you, you'll just realize how many masks we all have. For example, might be around people pleasing. There might be where you feel you were some person and then you changed. Well, I'll talk about my story. As I was going through my own awakening journey, so around year end, and it's good that right now we're talking about this, and every year end, the beginning of January, people do New Year resolutions. I decide on what is it that I'm detoxing from.
Hmm.
So 1 year, I said, okay, it is going to be my of no, because I realized that I was just a very people pleasing person. And so I said, okay, I'm going to give myself 1 year where I will just say no and I will not feel guilty about it. I went till June and I was really cutting off from so many people that I thought were just really tight and they had my back. And I was realizing after the conversation that no, something was happening where I wasn't feeling fully seen and I was feeling a little bit less. And I said, okay, I don't need to have as many of those conversations and I can just stay away from there. So I stopped reducing that. And around June, I was like, gosh, if I continue doing this, I'm probably not going to have more friends. And I still had a choice. So I asked myself, did I want to go back now and did I want to stop this? But it still felt better. you know,
Hmm.
Even then, it just felt so good. And I was like, well, if I'm the only person forever and ever and nobody's friends with me again, I'm still okay with this. This is fine. Of course, I want people, but this is okay. I'm not going to compromise myself anymore. And then afterwards, I had made space. So just July, August, I had the most beautiful connections being formed, and all of that started happening. So, this is one example of how, when we really start choosing ourselves, things shift out, things make way. So, just keep doing you, keep giving
Hmm.
permission to you, and it will unravel in mysterious ways, but just give more and more permission to yourself.
It's funny. Mine was a little bit more drastic than yours. Mine was moved to a different province. So yeah, we just we're done. Oh, me and my partner were done with Ontario and just how polarized it was. And yeah, we just up and left. And there was a lot of people that did not like it. But honestly, we couldn't be happier. We're in a different place. The people are nice. It's nice out here. Just doing
Yeah.
those little things or even those big things for yourself really do help.
Yeah, I just put up my post for 2025 and the biggest lessons that I learned from. And one of the things that I put up there was that you shift and just give up on the expectation that people are going to like everything that you do and actually get really comfortable with being misunderstood, with not being liked. And it's not because you're a badass or something, it's more because well, some people will get on the journey, some people will not get on the journey, but it's your life, you do it. And as a leader, we're all leaders, we're all following ourselves. Not everybody is. And when we are following ourselves, that leader that you are showing people what to do. And leaders get confronted, leaders lead the way. So it's just normal. Follow you, do you better.
Now I'm actually the coordinator for the town. So I'm actually bringing people here, telling them to come. Like I believe in February, I'm out in Toronto for a convention to try and like, get people to come here. So
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
I'm becoming a leader in my own little community here.
And that's how it starts. I think you start with that. Like for me, it was just more and more stepping into my purpose. I didn't really know. And then, this calling became bigger and bigger. And I didn't really know that I was going to become a coach. Then I started coaching as life took me there. And now I'm a business expansion coach, but I just realized that all through my life, that's what I've prepared for. There are lots of things, the stuff that you do that becomes your rite of passage for what you will be able to bring to the other people in your life. And my biggest joy, everything in my life really all brings me to this point where I bring that strategy and energy work together for my clients to have profitable businesses sooner. Because I think in some sense, so earlier I was very much the black sheep, the person who was always doing, something different. And she was like the not one. And for a long time, I actually held guilt around that why am I not like everybody else? But the more and more I owned myself and I went here, I'm realizing that, oh, I stepped into my purpose. And that is the biggest inspiration for people.
Mm.
Just me stepping into me.
It gives a lot of meaning to your life, and it's why I'm weird. But so I just want to give you the last little bit of the episode to promote who you are, where you are, and where people can find you.
Yeah. So find me on LinkedIn or Instagram. You can reach out to me at I'd love to have a chat with you. And whatever your next level is, I'd give you this takeaway that it is absolutely truly possible for you. The reason that you have that calling is because it is possible for you, because otherwise that wouldn't happen. It wouldn't be coming to you. We talked about leadership, but it's also about you stepping into yourself, and that consciousness that you're tapping into, that's a lot bigger than you. It is choosing you. So allow that to come in. And if you need guidance on that, or if you feel like you would want to talk about it, reach out to me and I'll help you there. Kanika.
And I'll make sure everything's in the comments down below. Thank you very much for coming on. And to my audience out there, if you need anything, just comment down below and I'll make sure to help get you situated. And to everybody out there, stay weird.
Thank you so much, Cody.